News Talk 1450 WOL-AM, where information is power.
We have traffic with the work zone set up on New York Avenue. If you're trying to get out of the 3rd Street Tunnel, still looking at delays back near D Street, and that's a solid lineup to sit through the light at New York Avenue. Then you head outbound toward Florida Avenue. You're narrowed down to one lane. Inbound slows through that stretch as well. Heading outbound on Maryland Avenue, Route 1 jammed to the work zone at Benning Road. Work crews are set up each direction, DC 295, southbound as you approach Benning Avenue, and northbound near Burroughs, so watch for that stop and go. Now your WOL forecast, mostly sunny today with a high of 50, overnight low 31. Tomorrow sunshine with a few clouds, high near 48. Current temperature in DC 43 degrees. I'm Jamie Whitten for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
All right. Welcome back to Igniting Change with Barbara Arnwine. I'm attorney Daryl Jones, the board chair of the Transformative Justice Coalition, and your co-host here on Igniting Change. And we're so excited that you've decided to spend your afternoon here on iconic WOL listening to Igniting Change. Let me tell you, folks, we've been talking to Linda Wade, who is the founder and president and runs an organization, a nonprofit organization called Above the Clouds that's based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It also has locations in Texas. And they focus on at-risk kids and very poor neighborhoods that need help. And they're providing jazz for them. I guess they can play some jazz music, listen to some jazz. They can learn ballet, some structured ballet. It gives them an outlet. It gives them an outlet for these kids. And it's just an incredible program that she has put together, Above the Clouds, the program. But even more interestingly, Ms. Wade, your program was a victim of a theft. And as a result of this mail theft, you've lost somewhere around $50,000 in grants that have been essential for you to be able to run the operation, to be able to provide the materials that the kids need to be able to perform in jazz, to be able to do the ballet, to be able to do the various art forms that you have presented there with your organization. So the question that I now will want our audience would certainly want to know is, how do you make up now for this loss? Do you just have to cut back on the kids? What do you do?
Well, I mean, because most of the funding is done once a year, and we don't want to cut back on the kids, there are some, instead of having 5 locations, we have 4 locations. We were going to add another location in 2024, but we're going to wait for that. Instead of adding more instructors, we're going to wait until mid-spring to look at more instructors. But we don't want the children to suffer because of the theft. And so we're looking at how we can continue to, provide the classes for them, which we will do in a way that they can still, study. It might not be as many people as we wanted to reach for the next quarter.
And they say you can judge they say that you can judge the quality of a program by what its graduates do. That's what we like to do in the United States. Let's see what the graduates do. Can you tell us a little bit about Lindsay Kelly and your graduates there?
Yes, so I have online with me Miss Lindsay, and Miss Lindsay is going to share with you just a little bit about her experience and what is she doing and why she came back with Above the Clouds. Miss Lindsay?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Lindsay. We're doing great. We're doing great. Welcome to Igniting Change. So tell us, you were a student at the Above the Clouds program. Tell us what it was like and what you're doing now, and you've returned.
Yes, sir. So I started class at Above the Clouds when I was age 14. So I started off in the ballet program. It was so fun. I felt like I was challenged and motivated to grow. And I don't know if you know, it's most often students or dance students who start in ballet, most of them start, if they want to be successful, they start at the age of 5 or 6. And so when I heard about Above the Clouds at age 14, I said, wow, I've wanted to study dance my whole life, but we couldn't afford it until we heard about Above the Clouds and that they offer the classes for free. So I started training there and reached the highest level in their program. Not long after, I received a scholarship to study ballet at Steps of Grace in Brookfield, and then I got a scholarship to study dance at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee.
Wow, that is awesome. Oh, my goodness.
Also, she went away to college to get her degree in business and dance, and then when she came back, tell them why you wanted to come back here.
Yeah, so I taught ballet at Above the Clouds while I was in college, and I really wanted to invest in the next generation. I wanted to share the things that I had learned, the confidence that I had built, the discipline that I had learned with the next generation. So began teaching with Above the Clouds. I've been teaching for almost 10 years. And then now I'm a trainee with a ballet company in Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow. What an amazing story, Daryl. Just shows you people don't understand that dance is more than people's personal expression, that it can be not only a ladder to a lifelong career, but it also brings you out the spirit and the joy in our community. I am just so amazed for this story. Can you tell us about the children who come to the program and how they react to these opportunities to live up to their potential, to really exert, all of the gifts that God has put inside of them? Can you tell us more about the children who come to this program?
Absolutely. We've got kids that come from so many different areas, and, you can tell, you can see on the kids' face sometimes they've had a rough day at school, or they may feel tired or drained, and just to, stand before them and, I say it's time for dance class, stand nice and tall, and I have them walk into the classroom with their head held high and their arms in a dance pose, and just to see in that instance how their spirits lift. And there was one particular day when a grandmother brought her granddaughter. She was like 5 or 6 years old, and she was having a tough day, and she was in tears. And so I got on her level, and we started talking about dance and ballet. And I'm like, okay, do you feel ready to come back to class now? And she's like, yeah. And so just to see, the impact, lifting their spirits, encouraging them to try something that they've never tried before, and just to empower them to be themselves, to grow in artistry and technique and all those things. It's just really rewarding.
And I just love reading, interviews and beautiful articles that have been written about Above the Clouds. And they talk about how when Miss Wade was at one of these prisons and performing, how she started realizing that all of the women and all the prisoners that she was performing for had one thing in common, and that was that at a very early age, they were ignored, that they weren't able to, complete their education, that they weren't able to exert their gifts. And I just think that was such a profound revelation. And one of the things I do want to say quickly, because we want you to tell people again how they can give to the program. But I want to say to all of us, we have parents, we have children, we have friends, we have colleagues, we have cousins, we have all kinds of connections. Everybody be aware of scammers. This is a horrible season. They prey on young people who don't know a lot about finances. They prey on elderly people who they know they can confuse. They have been out here stealing thousands, millions of dollars from people. Please, folks, watch your family, talk with your family, make sure they're protected during this time. But let's get back to this beautiful program again. I want you to tell people again, how do they give? Because I've given my money now, and I'll give it again. And I want to make sure that folks are supporting the best that our country has. Tell them, how do they do this?
So they can go on our website at abovethecloudsmilwaukee.com and hit our support page and hit the donate button, or they can donate via Cat Ash at $ATC4U. That's ATC, the number 4 and the letter U. And so those are the best ways to give.
Say it again, say it slowly so that people can.
AboveTheCloudsMilwaukee.com is our website, or they can give via Cash App at ATC, the number 4 and the letter U.
All right, that's fantastic. And I've got to ask you a question as we're beginning to wind down on this segment. I got to ask you, Ms. Wade, and I come out of local government, right? I was a former local elected official. So I got to ask you, the city of Milwaukee, they've got to see the value of what Above the Clouds is doing for the poor zip code, one of the poorest zip codes in the country. So I'm sure they've got to be calling you and rallying around you and offering all kinds of help through either a loan program, a grant program, or through Parks and Recreation. What has Mayor Cavalier Johnson done? Have they contacted you at all?
Not yet.
Okay, well, folks, if you are listening to this call, let's be certain that we reach out to Mayor Cavalier Johnson. Good brother that's out there in the city of Milwaukee representing the people. You can reach him at 414-286-2200, 414-286-2200, and encourage him to reach out to Above the Clouds Milwaukee and help them to help the kids that are in the city that he represents, because we're about voting rights. We're about voting. This is the time to hold people accountable for the votes that we have cast. Let's ask the mayor to please do what he can to support the Above the Clouds Milwaukee. One last time, Ms. Wade, I've given through the Cash App to the ATC4U. How else can people give before we let you go? And how else can they contact you if they have kids that want to be participating?
Sure, and they can give or contact us either via our website at abovethecloudsmilwaukee.com and hit the support page, or they can call us at 414-344-3019 if they're interested in registering their child or grandchildren for our classes, or they can give via Cash App at ATC, the number 4 and the letter U.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, Ms. Wade. You and Ms. Kelly, Lindsay Kelly, your one-time student, your now-time employee over there at Above the Clouds, Milwaukee. We love hearing the story. We love the determination. We love what you do for the community, and we will be supporting you, following you, and doing all we can to be certain that Above the Clouds, Milwaukee, as well as the kids that you represent and serve, are taken care of. Thank
you so much, Daryl and Barbara, for having me and us on your program.
You're welcome.
That was more igniting change. Don't touch that dial.
This is WOL News Talk 1450 AM and 95.9 FM 959.
Here's the latest from Newsone.com. Metro GM Randy Clark painting a bleak picture for the transit system. Metro is facing a $750 million shortfall for the next fiscal year. Clark said at today's budget reveal that if DMV leaders don't step up to help, 10 Metro stations would have to close and 67 of 135 Metro bus routes would be eliminated. Nearly 2,300 Metro employees would have to be laid off, and riders would be hit with a fare increase of 20%. D.C. police searching for a man in his early 20s suspected of gunning down 2 men outside a liquor store in Northeast. Cops say the guy was wearing a black and white jacket, blue jeans, and brown shoes when he targeted the duo late Monday night on 4th Street, steps away from Rhode Island Avenue in Brentwood. Commanders linebacker Jamin Davis will miss the rest of the season. Washington Post reports Davis will have season-ending surgery to repair a shoulder injury he suffered in Week 13. I'm Rick Hoschel. When you're looking for news for Black America, go to Newsone.com.
All right, now, welcome back to Igniting Change, where we are talking about this holiday season. And it's a season for giving, but it's giving not only of your charity, giving not only of your time and resources, but it's also about making sure that you're giving your political best to protect our voting rights. And so we are so delighted to be talking about holiday love one organization's fight to protect and help our children. And we're also talking about the ongoing fight for voter justice. And in that regard, I am blessed to introduce, this is her